We better start this show because this isn't going anywhere. The banter's just not happening today because you're mute buttoning whenever you should be bantering.
Mute buttoning whenever you should be bantering. I mean, that's a classic mute button mistake right there. Cover up the good stuff. You let the bad stuff through. It's tough.
Should be banter. All you got is mute. Yeah, see?
Crushed it. Now you don't even know. That was the best banter I ever given. Top 5 banter of all time.
Hey, watch him! With Dan and Tony! Hey, watch him! With Dan and Tony! It's like watching, yeah!
Welcome to Hate Watching with Dan and Tony. I'm Dan, and that's...
Tony!
Late to the show, Tony.
I mean, late. 2 weeks late,
2
really.
weeks late, Tony. 2 weeks late.
That's a long time to be late. That's the latest I've ever been, I'm pretty sure.
The greatest thing is we keep having shows come out, and I'm like, oh, yeah, we shot that one. I'm like, I wonder what the next one is. Oh, yeah, we shot that one. I don't remember.
But now we're caught up. Where our release is, we are right on the edge now, Dan.
Yeah, we're right on the edge. Living on the edge, as some band says.
So I think the next couple episodes will be re-releases as we factor back into our lives here.
Then we get Halloween rolling. Hopefully Tiffany Haddish will have the wherewithal to release her stupid Haunted Mansion movie onto some platform where we can watch it.
Won't it come to Disney Plus?
I hope so.
It better.
I mean, it must have been such a big failure. They're going to have to do something with it, right?
Well, they might just bury it. Let's be honest. Just put it in the graveyard, guys.
Put it in the grave right next to Batgirl.
I still want to see Batgirl. I don't think Batgirl was going to be bad. I mean, who knows?
Oh, yeah. Did you ever see the one with with Ruby? What's her name? Was it some other Batgirl? What show was she on? Ruby.
Yeah. I mean, that's the CW show.
Was that Batgirl too?
Ruby Rose.
Yeah.
What about it?
What show was that?
Yeah, that was. Is it Batwoman? Or is it Batgirl?
Maybe that was Batwoman. Maybe that was Batwoman. And did you ever watch that show?
Of course.
What?
You kidding me? Of course I did. It's the CW. I watch all the CW shows.
That show was unwatchable.
She's real bad. I don't know who decided that she should be a thing for a while, but she's terrible. She drags down everything she's in. And you know what? I'm not trying to be rude here. It's hard to watch. Did you watch it after they replaced her? Because they did replace her.
No, I didn't.
There you go. That's your mistake, then. It got good.
She's very attractive, but man, just terrible.
She's stiff as a board. Stiff as a board and so boring. It's tough.
Okay, well, what we're supposed to do on this show is we're supposed to talk about a movie. And the movie we watched this week was something that Tony found that no one has ever heard of.
It's not true, Dan. It's not true. Everyone's heard of it.
No, I do not believe anyone's ever heard of this movie. No, not a chance. Mute. There goes a mute button.
Yeah, there you go. Funny. I missed the first one.
Your spit taken all over the camera, and you muted.
So how did this come up? Oh, the Zack Snyder trailer dropped, and it's got Charlie Hunnam. And I was like, what happened to that guy? We haven't seen him in a while. This is what happened. He did this movie, and he went to movie jail.
No, but he was in another. That's the thing. Well, to talk about this movie, say what this movie is first.
This is, of course, King Arthur, the Legend of the Sword.
2017, 2 hours and 7 minutes.
Not that long ago. It was pretty recent, Dan.
No, this is short-term memory kind of time period. This should not have already been forgotten. This is not 1987 lost to the waves of time. This is just like a few years ago.
This was one of the last movies before the pandemic. Let's be honest, one of the last blockbusters before the pandemic, and nobody remembers it.
We haven't done Prince of Persia, have we?
No, but we should. Good old Jake Gyllenhaal.
Prince of P, baby. King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, 2017. Guy Ritchie directing. He did another one after this, which Hunnam was in as one of the characters, which was really, really good.
Interesting. What is that?
Shannon and I watched it. It's like The Gentleman or something. Yeah, maybe it's called The
Oh,
Gentleman.
that sounds like something that happened. Yeah.
Yeah. And Charlie Hunnam played one of the like sort of secondary guys. Incredible. He was incredible.
Well, that was right after he did Aladdin, so he was riding high all of a sudden.
But what year was that in?
2019.
Yeah, so he wasn't in any kind of movie jail.
I guess that's true.
It's 2 years.
That's true. I guess he was in what's called the pandemic jail, where nobody worked for 3 years, and then I forgot about everybody.
Yeah, he was in Drew Barrymore jail.
Oh boy, Drew! What are you doing, Drew? What are you doing? I love it.
Yeah. So yeah, King Arthur: Legend of the Sword. Guy Ritchie. They spent, I don't know, $125 million, $140 million making this movie.
So worth it. So worth it. Did you see these effects, Dan? This is grade A stuff.
I liked some of them.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Which ones in particular did you enjoy? Because I'll tell you about the ones that I hated.
I'll talk about them when we get to them.
Okay, that's fair enough.
I mean, I will say they spent the money.
Of course they spent the money. If someone's going to give you money, you're going to spend it.
But I mean
that's my philosophy.
This movie didn't look like it was done on a shoestring budget. It felt like, there were real serious sets.
Like it was done on a string of cocaine, I would say.
What does that mean?
It's frenetic. Is that a word? Frenetic?
Yeah, frenetic is the
word. I felt
word.
like I was going crazy sometimes with all these whip pans and this weird shaky camera. And I was like, this doesn't feel like King Arthur at all. Those two styles don't match for me. Like if you got a Snatch, great movie, right? It fits with this whole thing that Guy Ritchie's got going on. This movie felt real weird to me. I did not like it.
Well, that's interesting that you're sort of starting there. I, on the other hand, hated the dialogue because they talk like Snatch and Peaky Blinders and Today, and 100%. You're just like you got to figure out something. That's why I always go back to Firefly, which took science fiction and then gave it this. The way they approached language in that show was perfect. It was unique. And I always think about that show and I'm like, if they could do it with a science fiction future thing and then make it a Western, but just all these correct tweaks. This movie had no tweaks. It just sounded like you
in its defense, just the tiniest bit. Firefly is one of the most, like, the best, most cohesive series of all time, Dan.
Yeah, I know, but I mean...
That's a high bar, that's all I'm saying.
But it's a thing you can look at to see how they approached language and made it not sound like it's a bunch of teenage girls on TikTok or whatever. And I think...
Dan spends a lot of time on the TikToks, everybody. Loves the TikToks, this guy.
Catching these big fish. It's like crazy.
Wait, what? What?
Dude... I don't go on TikTok much, but I get it through Instagram, and I just start flicking through them. And there's all these weird ones in Indonesia where the people are like reaching into the thing and they pull out a fish that's like 7 feet long, and they're like, fish.
Your algorithm is all messed up, Dan. I love it.
Yeah,
Big Fish Dan. That's what we'll call you.
So yes, they're like, hey boss, yeah boss, yeah guy, yeah boss. You're just like, no, don't make them talk like that. Make up something new and different.
No,
but you can't make them talk like that.
You want them to do a bunch of work? Come on, Dan. We just want to shoot and get out.
Okay. Did you do any research on this movie, Tony?
Dan, come on. I had 2 weeks. You think I did research? No way.
So they thought that this was going to be a franchise, right?
I did know that. I thought I read that they had like 6 movies planned. What? About what? Did they say? Did they break it down at all? They're like, this is where we were headed. Because this feels pretty much open and closed. He's the king and now we're good.
Well, 2 was going to be Merlin. And
why isn't Merlin in this movie, Dan? Because Merlin
he's
and
in
Arthur
movie 2
are like hand in hand.
Because that's movie 2.
They talk about Merlin. They're like, oh, Merlin is somewhere in the forest, but here's this other mage that he sent for some reason.
What? He's coming in too.
I'm not excited enough. I'm sorry. That's not a good enough tease for me.
King Arthur 2, The Legend of Merlin. King Arthur 3, The Attack of the Vikings. King Arthur 4, Mordred returns and takes over, and King Arthur has to hide in a cave. That's what it is.
Oh, did that happen? Are these parts of the real story?
Well, no, but you see what they're going to do. You can see it pretty easily, right?
When does Lancelot come in?
And then
That's my question.
And then there's 5 is Lancelot fucks up the round table, right? Because he's screwing Arthur's lady. And then...
Oh, yeah, where's Guinevere?
And then 5...
Man, this movie doesn't do anything. No wonder they needed 6 movies. They did no story. Jesus.
Killed the kid. Oh, they didn't kill the kid.
They killed Daddy.
Did we even resolve the kid at the end of the movie?
No, he was taken, and then he was like, if you don't come to the castle, I'll kill the kid. And then we never see the kid again. Nobody cares. Nobody cares at all about this kid.
Even at the end, was the kid wasn't running around, was he?
I don't remember seeing Blue, but maybe he was there. I don't know, Dan.
It's like, the giant plot device. Oh, yeah.
But nobody cares. We're doing the big battle. That's all you need.
Okay, so King Arthur, we start off, here's King Arthur, we have a tower, there's a fire in the top, Mordred's on the rise, he's fighting against Camelot, he brings big elephants, everything's on fire, then here's King Arthur, he's like, take my crown, and then he rides into danger.
Uther.
No, that's the whole thing is, I thought he was King Arthur, I didn't understand what was going on.
Got it.
You can't have one guy named Uther, the other guy named Arthur. You got to really specify that.
Now, so here's my question: Uther Pendragon, is that a guy?
Yeah, that's Arthur's dad.
Okay, that's what I thought.
In real life, this all made up.
Yes. Wait, what? No, Arthur's real.
I'm
pretty sure. Isn't Arthur a real legend?
Yeah, you just said it. Isn't he a real legend? He's a legend.
Good point. Wait, isn't he a real person?
No, of course
in
not.
History?
It's all made up.
Oh, that kind of breaks my heart a little bit. Isn't it?
You think England was ruled by King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table?
I did, yeah. You kind of ruined it now. That's a bummer.
No such thing.
Why don't you just tell me there's no Santa Claus, Dan? Jesus Christ over here.
Yes.
No, I obviously I didn't think it was like this, but I thought it was based on a real guy that ruled at some point, and then they built a legend around him because everybody liked it. And okay, I guess not.
I think it's all made up, man. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it's all made up.
Well, then back to the made up stuff. Why are these elephants so big?
Because you gave them elephant juice.
Elephant juice. Jesus.
So there's like these elephants.
Elephantitis of the body.
There's elephants and they're like big as like 7-story buildings.
Yeah, they're huge. They're giant. I don't get it.
There's 3 of them.
There's no other, and maybe you can correct me, but there's no other like fantastical beasts in the movie, right?
Except all of the fantastical beasts in the movie.
Oh, so there are more? What else you got? I only remember the elephants.
There's a snake.
Oh, the snake. Yeah, the snake happens at the end. That's right. Yeah, I remember that.
There's humongous bats. Humongous rats.
Are there? I don't remember either of those.
We'll get to those. But
all right, we'll get to it. Yeah, but there are other creatures. Okay, well, all right.
It's the thing about it is you don't really register them because they don't make any sense.
That's fair. Yeah, I buy that 100%.
It happens, and you're like, "Oh, yeah, that happened, didn't it?" I didn't take that into my mind because I didn't really register that it was even happening because it's nothing.
It doesn't affect the story. Nothing happens.
Doesn't mean
anything.
Now,
is it just mages making them bigger, or are these like mythical beasts? I don't understand, Dan.
Yeah, we don't. No one understands because they don't specify. Great. We don't understand.
Great, then I'm on track. Let's continue with the movie.
So it's Arthur. I thought it was Arthur. He sneaks in. They do the war on the bridge. Arthur kills Mordred. Did he kill Mordred, or he killed somebody and the elephants die?
Yeah, it's just some other mage guy, I think.
And everyone's like, "Woo!" Everyone's happy, "Woo!" And
Dan.
Yeah.
The sword. What's it called again?
Excalibur.
Is it a magical sword?
Very magical.
It is a magical. Does it have ice powers? Was that its thing?
Ice. No, it has unspecified powers that come into play whenever the unspecified powers are necessary to do some unspecified thing.
That's a pretty handy sword then. That's good. Good for the good guys to have that. Because this guy's fire, and all of a sudden the sword's just ice. And I was like, well, that's lucky. What if the guy was a different element and you were ice? What if he's rock? What if he's earth? Yeah, ice doesn't do shit. You don't know. What if he's got leaf power? He's got a Bulbasaur over there. Ice isn't going to do shit.
Electricity. He's got a sword. Does not good.
Electricity
plus sword because you're
you
fucked.
got a conduit. You're fucked.
Wow, listen to Tony. What you've been Reader's Digesting over there? Conduit.
I've been reading. I have a word of the day calendar.
Guess so. Okay, so no more purges, and they're gonna have peace for a while. They were kind of. I think they were fighting against the mages. I think the bad guys were literally the mages.
But like the bad, not all mages, just bad mages. It seemed like.
Yeah.
Because then they were like, we got to stop exterminating the mages. Is like the next scene. Gian, I don't understand anything that's happening in this movie.
No, they don't. The whole beginning part doesn't make much sense. You don't
bizarre.
really hear anybody's names. Jude Law plays King Uther's brother. I didn't really know his name the entire movie.
No. Nope. I still don't.
Yeah, I didn't think he did.
Whoa. Why are you attacking me? I didn't think
no.
did. What? You didn't know it?
No, I didn't. That's why I didn't attack you. I would have attacked you if I thought you were supposed to know it, but they did such a terrible job of it.
I have no problem attacking you, fella. I'll tell you that right now.
So, Jude Law's character was like crying for some reason, and then
he did that a lot throughout the movie. I don't know.
So then, basically, Jude Law kills King Uther and his wife, and then the kid escapes.
But he kills
somehow
his wife, right? Jude Law kills his own wife.
Oh, yeah. So Jude Law kills his wife, and that's the whole kind of premise, which they don't really set up, and they don't ever have Jude Law talk about, and they don't ever have him deal with, but he has to kill his own wife. Not only does he deal with,
but then magically later he's got a daughter, a fully grown daughter to also kill. Where's the scene where he has to tell his daughter that he killed his mom? Like, what's going on? I didn't even know he had a daughter.
So the whole idea is he's in league with the bad spirits and
the octopuses.
The octopuses.
Now, who are they?
That's who he's in league with.
I need so much help with this movie. It doesn't make a lick of sense, Dan. Who are the octopus mermaids?
I don't think they ever tell us a name, so I don't think we ever found out.
Oh, for fuck's sake. All of a sudden, just like, the magic powers. I don't know where you came from.
But you see, I like that special effect. I thought the thing was pretty horrifying.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I just didn't know. I didn't know what I was looking at. And they're like, you know what the price is? Is like, I already paid the price. Dan.
You told me you wanted me to point out the special effects. I like that one.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I shouldn't have jumped on you there. I apologize. I did ask you to do that, and you're right. It looked nice.
So basically, he sacrifices one of his family members to the octopuses, and then he gets the power to win.
Yeah. What? I don't even understand.
But we also later find out he has to build a tower, and if he gets the tower to a certain height, an unknowable height,
right? There's no ticking clock. We're 3 floors away. It's just like at some point the tower will be high enough, maybe.
And then something will happen that'll be better.
Yeah, something good for him. Good stuff.
Now, does he turn into the big Frank Frazetta Nazgul dude when he kills Arthur?
He does.
Because I watched this 2 weeks ago, so the beginning part's a little fuzzy for me.
That's fair. Yeah. It went because you don't actually know. I mean, you're not supposed to know that it's Jude Law at first. It's just that monster guy from the Lord of the Rings.
This special effect, I hated. I thought it looked fine, but I thought the visual stealing from Lord of the Rings, Nazgul, Frank Frazetta was some of the weakest design I've ever seen. Yeah.
It's pretty much 1 for 1. Like, it's not even, they're not like, you know what, I like this, but let's make it our own. They're just like, just use that. You got the assets laying around somewhere, right? Just bring them forward. We got it. We're good.
And I'm not a Lord of the Rings fan, but the design in the Lord of the Rings was very particular. They did their own design. I did not care for a lot of it, but it felt. I hated the orcs. I thought they looked horrible, but I also.
Oh, interesting.
No,
okay.
Let me rephrase that. I found them incredibly unappealing. But that's probably what they wanted, and whatever. It's not. It wasn't what I wanted
not what
to look
you
at.
wanted.
It's not a thing I enjoyed looking at all.
You know what I did enjoy looking at? Legolas. God, Orlando Bloom looks good in that movie.
Okay, so everybody's dead except him, and then the little kid escapes in a boat. I don't even remember how he could possibly have escaped in a boat since he's a little kid.
No, that's pretty much it. He just jumped on a boat with other people.
There were other people on the boat.
There were other people on the boat, and he was supposed to go with them, and then he did.
So we have some titles, which I wrote a question mark after. I don't know why I wrote a question mark after.
I will tell you why, Dan, because you can't read them. The script, the rolling script at the beginning and the titles, you can't fucking read them. The not handwriting, the typography that they use, unreadable, illegible. It doesn't make any sense. I have no idea what it says. Absolutely ridiculous.
I'm so glad I put that question mark there. Okay, here we are. He's in Londinium, which is London with an idiom. He gets taken in. He gets a haircut. He gets bullied. Jude Law is king. He saves money. Hold on. Let me run through the montage.
You finish the montage. I'm sorry.
Haircut, bullied. Jude Law is king. He saves money. He gambles. He steals. He trains. He muscles. He swords. He's ready to rumble.
That montage should be the movie. Just FYI. That's what the movie is him like learning how to. This is ridiculous. But this montage is when the movie lost me. This is crazy. There's some weird music going on that it doesn't match anything that's happening. And this is all the quick cuts like whoosh, 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 shaky, 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 whoosh, whoosh. It's so bad. It doesn't make any sense. It feels so disjointed from the first 5 minutes of this movie. You're in a whole new movie. It's shocking.
Because it's his movie. It's not his dad's movie anymore. It's his movie.
Oh, so you're saying that this was on purpose. We have a shift change because it's no longer Uther, it's Arthur. Got it.
Arthur's rock and roll. Pew, 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 pew.
He sure was. Very weird for the times.
Meanwhile, back at Camelot, the sword in the stone has come up out of the water, I think, and so they fight over it.
I don't know, Dan. I was hoping you'd tell me. Is that what it just magically comes up?
Yeah, because the water recedes because of water.
Because of water. The tide. The tide's out, guys.
The tide. So they see the sword, and so they're all like, oh, shit. We got to figure out who the person is. It's kind of a mistake, isn't it? When you kind of just lock the sword in like a room.
Sure. Yeah, do it kind of like they do in Thor. Remember that movie? They have the hammers in the stone and they put a whole camp around it, and then he's got to sneak into the camp and beat the shit out of a bunch of dudes. That's a great moment.
That's what you do. You hide it.
This is stupid. Yeah,
but
this is just dumb.
Their whole plan is to get people to come and pull it out so that then it'll be pulled out and can start to be used.
Right, which is the opposite of what you want. I don't know if you know what your plan is, bad guy, but you don't want someone to pull it out. That's how you lose. I'm not here to tell you your business, Jude Law. You do you.
Or you let somebody pull it out, and then you don't just execute them instantly.
Right, you've got a guy with an axe sitting right by the fucking sword. And you're just like, oh, it's moving. Done. He's out.
No, you give it a lot of time for things to occur.
Let him take it out. Let him swing it around. Pass out on his own. Jesus Christ.
See, I asked somebody, one of my teachers one time, I was like, you let these people like run around and do really stupid things, and so we as the audience stand there and yell at them, like, stop doing stupid things. I'm like, do you guys do that intentionally? And she was like, no.
That's an unfortunate answer. I wish the answer was yes, and then I'd be like, why? And be like, yeah, it's fun. And then I'll allow it.
Well, I mean, it makes you engage when you see when they allow
Sure.
all these loopholes, and but at some point you become so detached, you're just like, this is just
You
the
give
dumbest
up.
thing ever.
Yeah, that's this movie.
We have this one, and then we have another one at the end where you're just like, huh?
I can't wait to hear what you think is at the end. Yeah, let's get it.
So, Sword of the Stone, kill the boy. I wrote kind of cool. I don't remember what that is. So he lives in a brothel, so he has to protect his whores. And then there's a knock on the door, and it's guys with swords. They're looking for a prisoner, and Arthur turns in the prisoner, and the prisoner was Goosefat Bill. And then Littlefinger, who why doesn't this guy work every minute of his life forever?
I don't know. He's very engaging on screen. I love him. He's got a presence, man.
You like him. I like him.
He's cool. He's very cool.
Everyone else is like standing around being like, we're generic, we're generic, we're generic. And then he's like,
and he just brings it. He just brings it himself. And that's why it's hard, because Guy Ritchie relying on the actors to become to be something that they're not. It's tough. That's a tough job.
He kills it. So then we get into this whole thing with these Vikings, and the Vikings shook down Mike, and then there was graffiti, and then they beat him up and show him their place, and then the Blackfoot guy's like, they're under protection of the king, you're in trouble.
And so this is the first of several Guy Ritchie telling things as they happen on screen. You know what I mean? Like, here's the plan. Like Ocean's 11-y a little bit, like a heist movie where you kind of explain it, and then while they're explaining it, you're also showing it. It doesn't work for this movie for me. I don't know why I hate it so much, but it feels so weird in a King Arthur movie to have this sort of storytelling device. It loses me every time. I don't
because
like
we're not really learning about the characters.
Well, that's true. We're just going through this is the cool thing we did. This is the cool thing we did. This is what they did. I cut off a ponytail, and now we're here.
Yeah, and you're just like, I haven't seen. I mean, does King Arthur character struggle at all in this movie, really?
He has a hard time holding onto the sword with two hands. So, that's pretty embarrassing if you think about it.
And we're going to go, we may as well get this out of the way. What is his character arc for the movie?
Thief to king. There you go.
Did he really, was that really a character arc that happened? That he stopped being
title-wise, yes.
Did he stop being thievinous and have to be kingly?
No, and he never led anyone. Except, that's not true. There's a moment where he's like, I thought you weren't going to question my lead. Let's hit it, guys. So, yeah, Dan, it happens. He's got a full turn.
And that leadership is what makes him have the ability to defeat the bad guy at the end?
No, for sure not. That's the two hands on the sword thing. Which, by the way, is confusing because he holds the sword with one hand all the time, right?
Yeah.
But then he holds it with two hands and the magic starts.
Yeah.
But then
you can take one hand off and the magic keeps
when
going,
does
baby.
It stop? What is it another double hand? Is it like an on, off type thing where you have to hit it again, like a clap on, clap off?
Once you clap it on, it's on, baby.
It's on forever. Okay. This is a weird sword.
They turn it off. Meanwhile, the king is back there, and nobody can pull out the sword. And so he asks Maggie, who is this blonde woman who we don't really know who she is, what the relationship to anyone is, but she hangs around, and he's like, "There are people who love me," and she's like, "Oh, I love you, sir. You're really cool." And he's like, "Finish the tower so that I can be powerful."
Yeah, I just don't get it. I don't get why. I don't understand exactly what he gave to the octopi and then what the tower does. I don't understand the difference. I thought...
They never explain the tower. They never even give us anything about the tower. They just say if he once he has the tower, he's going to be super powerful or more or something.
Yeah, no, that's about right. You got it. You nailed it.
Now, we set up this whole thing where he's like, the Vikings are protected by the king, but they didn't punish him for doing a thing to the Vikings.
Well, yeah, weren't they gonna kill him?
But he didn't kill all those guys. He didn't have to run away or do anything, did he?
Yeah, because they captured him, right? You're talking about Charlie Hunnam?
Yeah.
Yeah, they capture him. They're gonna kill him, and then the mage saves him.
Oh, did the mage save him?
Yeah,
I didn't write the mage in here. No, not yet. No.
Are you sure?
We haven't gotten to the mage yet.
I just watched this movie last night, Dan, and I already don't remember it.
Whatever. He has a dream about his dad. He wakes up by the boy, and the boy's like, "You got to go." And so he runs because the guards were coming for him, I guess, for the thing that they told him in the scene before he was in trouble for. Which, of course, they could have just taken him then, but they didn't for an unknowable reason.
Well,
so
the first one's a warning, Dan. Everybody gets a warning, okay? You got to be fair.
One warning. So he runs away, and then it turns out that he runs right into the thing where you got to get tested for the sword randomly, and they're like, on the boat, because you don't have the brand. Wish I had a mute button right now.
You don't have a mute button? You got to get yourself a mute button. Look at this. I go, and muted. Look at that. That's nice.
You're so good at this, Tony. I'm amazed. So they take him, and they ship him off to non-Londinian, to Tower Town.
Is that? Please tell me that's really what it's called, Tower Town. I hope. No, that's what it is. Don't tell me any differently.
You know, you get to that point in the Road Warrior 3, and you know, and you find out it's called Bada Town. You're like,
yeah,
of course it is. It is.
Why is it not?
You've written it. It's calling a thing Barter Town terrible. It's just terrible. It's lazy and weird and stupid. Greatest thing ever.
But it works. Yeah, but it works.
Because that's the world they're living in. They're living in a world where a place can be called Bada Town.
And I don't know what world we're living in here.
Londinium.
That's so stupid. Sounds like an element on the periodic table.
Jesus, Tony. Periodic tabling. So they take him on the boat. We see all these kids in pens, and that means something because they're going to give them to the Vikings or something.
It means that Arthur's upset about it. He's like, "Oh, they just hold the kids here? Boy, that's rude." So, yeah, there you go.
Now that's the other thing is that the evil Jude Law King offers the Vikings was it 100,000 kids or 10,000? How many? A lot of kids.
No, it was 100,000 boys. Yeah.
What was he getting out of that?
Protection in the water or something? Like they were ships? I don't know. Dan. No idea.
It's so good. Okay, let's see. So, boom, he's got to do the thing. They're testing everybody to pull out the sword. So he's all like, "Get out of my way. I don't got time for this. You lads, move out, move out."
Yeah, he doesn't want to wait in line. I don't know why this is a part of the movie. Why is he such a dick that he can't wait in line behind other people? I found it very rude. He's just like, "Oh, watch out, mate. Watch out, mate. I'm coming through. I'm first." Why? What is going on right now?
I don't know. I ain't got time for this. It's like, yeah, you're going to be waiting for the boat the same amount of time.
Right, you're still on the island.
Last. You're waiting for the boat like every asshole. It's not like you're first in, first out. So he goes up there.
DMV.
It's not like you're at the DMV. The one guard that's in charge of it, David Beckham.
Oh, no way. Like the Bendit guy?
Yeah, the Bendit guy. Like Victoria Beckham's husband.
The guy that bends things like himself, yeah.
Football talking about.
Does he have a high-pitched voice?
He has a real high-pitched voice. It's not a great voice. It's not a great voice. So he goes up there, he cuts the line, boom, he picks it up, he pulls the sword out, and then the sword goes, kazap, and he's knocked out.
Yeah, he just knocked out cold. Well, doesn't he start to fight? And then people start drawing swords? No? Right,
zonks him instantly. Boom, you're out. So, boom, the king's like, I'll deal with this. King's in there talking to Arthur, and he's like, your dad's Arthur Pendragon. He's like, no, I don't think so. And he's all like, we went to your house and we found your money. You're not this common rugrat like you're acting like you are. You have a lot of money, and we brought all your friends here too. They did this in 15 minutes? I don't
He was
understand.
out for a while, Dan.
It was
All
like
right? He
a
was
couple of
asleep
weeks.
for a couple of days. Yeah, it was tough. Tough going.
So, and then he's like, "You're already becoming a legend."
Why? How?
Because
What's happening?
he pulled the magic sword out of the magic rock.
But then he immediately died. As far as anyone knows, I feel like he died immediately upon touching it, and that's it. That's the end of the story.
So here's your point. Why does this is me, Dan Goodsell, evil king. I take a dagger and I go like this into his throat.
Boop.
He has
Done.
there's no reason
And
for
then I
him to
hang
be
you
alive.
outside for everyone to see, and then there you go. I got fear. I win.
There's
Build
no
your tower.
there's no time in Lord of the Rings, not Lord of the Rings, in the other one about the dragons. What's that one with the dragons?
Game of Thrones.
House of the Game of Thrones.
House of the Game of Thrones.
That the bad guy has the good guy in his clutches and like leaves him alive.
Well, no, because George would just murder everybody. He'd be like, well, shit, I guess I'm going to have to change the end of my story because he's in a room and he's going to die.
Yes. I mean, so you're just like, you can't do this. You can't do it.
No,
Can't
it's
do
very
it.
stupid.
Can't do it.
You can do it.
You have to give him some reason for him to have to be kept alive.
100%.
You know, the king has to say, I got to kill you to prove some point, to do this, to do that. You got to give him a line. You got to give him some line, something. Juiciness.
Nah. You get it. You know he's going to live. He's Arthur.
So somehow we got Digimon Hansu again, who's playing...
Digimon?
Yeah, his name is Dijiomen Hansu.
Okay.
Like, super African American, super cool guy who they give.
He's
did they give him anything to do in this movie?
They called him a big man at one point. Remember that? When they're like, "You're a big man, now move," something like that. So that was cool.
That wasn't him. That was the other guy. I think.
No, but just somebody saying it to his face. So
no, but
he's a part of the movie.
Didn't they say it to the other guy in the training ground thing at the end? Was the training ground?
I don't know, Dan. I don't know.
I think he plays Sir Belvedere. I think that's who he becomes. But of course, everybody has these wacky names that you can't keep track of.
Like Spitback or something is one guy. What is his name?
I think it's something like Spitback. Goose Fat Bill's the only one you remember because it's the only one
Goose Fat Bill.
Played by a character who gets to do character things, Littlefinger.
And now, what do you think Goose Fat Bill, what do you think that means? Where does he get that name? I would love to hear the origins of these names. That would be a fun thing to get to know the people.
Wow, that would be a thing where we got to know a person. We do not get to know a person. They're all just a bunch of lads all working towards
lads. All right, lads.
Okay, so the girl mage who literally her name in the credits is Mage. She doesn't have a name.
Oh my, I thought I just didn't know it, but they just don't give her one.
Mage.
Amazing.
That's like calling somebody, hey, Italian, get over here.
Italian. Hey, it's an Italian.
She's sent by Merlin, so the king, boom, he armors up, and then he comes out to see the crowd. Oh, I thought they were chanting his name. I thought his name was King Foreskin.
King Foreskin? Yeah, it is. I love that.
So
Here on out, King Foreskin.
So everyone bows, and they're like, okay, they kill one of his prostitute women, and there's 10 more, so he's all like, I'm going to kill all of your prostitute women unless you be a good guy and don't say any words while I parade you out and kill you.
Yeah.
Okay. So he takes over a crowd. Boom, 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 boom. They're going to chop off his head, and they're like, here, come on, take the sword. You're not going to take the sword, are you? Because you're a big coward. He's like, I'm not taking the sword. I want to save my prostitute friends. And then, boom. This is the 43 minutes of the movie. And this is when I think you should have started the movie.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
I'd have started the movie right here. Boom. This, we start with the whole thing. He is an usurper. He is nothing. Boom, boom, boom. We're going to cut off his head. Boom. The mage starts maging. Drives the horses crazy. Drives the dogs crazy. Sends in her bird. and then sends in her men, and they boom, boom, boom. They break him out of prison.
Great. I love it. That'd be a fun intro.
Wouldn't that be a fun intro with the character that we're going to follow, as
For the
opposed to
movie?
his boring dad that we don't care about fighting a bunch
And
of elephants
dies
that we don't
immediately?
care about, who dies in a fight we don't care about a brother that we don't care about?
Well, but you need to know who the brother is, okay? Because he's a pretty big part of the movie.
Exactly. So then they just they jump off a cliff and they just escape very easily.
It is pretty easy. I'm not going to lie.
And then they tie him up as they're escaping. Why would you tie
on
him
the
up?
horses.
Why would you tie him up?
Well, he's a flight risk, right? Because of the thieving and the whoring that he does.
They don't know anything about that.
Dan, I have a question. I forgot to ask it. It's earlier in the movie. They're in the whorehouse, okay? The brothel. They're in the brothel.
Now I'm excited.
And it's when he's about to give up Goose Fat Bill, right? And one of the guards comes in first, and he gets in Charlie Hunnam's face, and Charlie, like, hits him or whatever. And then the boss guy comes in. He's like, what do I tell you about this house, mate? And the guy's like, he touched me. And he says, most people have to pay for that. Is Charlie Hunnam a whore?
Man whore.
I love it. Good for him. I would hire him.
He's
a good-looking guy.
Gotta make some extra money.
Good-looking guy right there. That's money, money, money.
Yeah, that was one of those lines where you're just like, no, it's
I wasn't sure. I was like, okay. Well, it's a weird thing just to throw out and not explore, but thank you.
So, boom, they take him to the cave. He hits on the mage and falls in love with the mage at some point in this show for unknowable reasons.
I'm not even sure I buy it.
I absolutely don't buy it. Although she's pretty cool. I liked her a lot.
She's pretty cool. She doesn't even get a name, Dan.
Probably my favorite part of the movie. I like the mage idea. I like the animal control. I think they could have calmed it down a little more, but I thought it was a really interesting way to approach it.
Sure, yeah.
They go to the cave, and they're all like, okay, you're going to be the king, but you got to learn to use the sword. And he's all like, I'm not going to use the sword. I don't want to use no sword. I have a sword. No sword. And then they're all like, okay, you're going to fight with us.
But why? I don't understand his hesitancy. Is it just because he's having a bad dream when he touches it?
I mean, his hesitance, because he's a rebel. He's like, you can't put me. I got to be free. I got to do what I want, even though he's completely, beholden to the whores and all that, and is completely irresponsible. He's a completely responsible guy. Like, if you want to make an irresponsible
he's
guy,
that household.
Yes, if you want to make a guy irresponsible, make him irresponsible. He's not irresponsible at all.
Also, I don't feel like he says the right things when I don't understand the reasons he doesn't want to do it with his character. That's all.
Well, that's because they don't have any. They don't have any.
Well, sure, there you go.
They want to have a bunch of things. They want to have him have a crew, but they want him to be irresponsible. Say he's irresponsible, and you're like, well, you can't.
But he leads the crew.
Yeah, he's always
he's always the head of the crew.
Yeah, doesn't make any sense. So then he touches the sword and he falls over. Now the witch is like, you got to use the sword. Stop resisting the sword. And if you do, then the dreams will go away. And you're like, how does she know about the dreams? Who knows? Who cares? Then they're like, you got to go to the Darklands. So they take him to the stones, and they're all like, now you got to walk through the things. The Darklands is really like, it's another world, right? So he doesn't actually go anywhere. He just whoops through a portal. He's in the Darklands, and that's where he fight. And then we hit the rock music. Rock. And then he fights Mega Rat, Mega Bats, Mega Snakes, Mega Wolves, and then he touches the swords, and the Mega Wolves leave. So those were all the big things. I mean, the bat was big enough,
fake.
But they were all fake, and it was all in his head. And he doesn't have to actually do anything.
He doesn't do anything. And also, it's another one of those telling while we're seeing it. Her and one of his guys are like talking about like, oh, you're going to kill him. You're going to kill him. He's not ready. And she's like, he has to do it. And then he's just like kind of doing stuff. It felt like it was supposed to be dramatic, but there was no tension throughout any of this scene.
You know, I was thinking back on like all the Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, and like, you know, in Predator, he like has to go through, you know, everybody gets killed, and each person dying, they learn another little bit, another little bit, and then boom, at the end, he's ready, and he just has to, you know, he has
Can
to
finally beat the beast.
and he barely
Boy,
beats
that's a
him.
good movie.
Barely
Yeah.
beats him. Barely beats him. Everything in here, King Arthur's just like,
He's the man. He can do anything.
You know, you think of Bruce Willis in Die Hard. It's like, oh man, he's so screwed. He's so screwed. Oh, he's lucked out again. Oh, he did the right thing. Oh, he's like, I'm talking and tricking, and then I make a move. This guy doesn't do anything ever.
No, he does not. No, he does not. I mean, the only thing he really does is uses a magic sword eventually to kill a bunch of people at once, which really undervalues King Arthur himself. I never see him become the king. I just see him as a guy with a magic sword, and I don't think that's the legend you want to tell.
It's movie 5, Tony, where he becomes a king.
Oh, that's because there's 6 movies. I keep forgetting there's 6 movies to tell this guy's arc. I'm sorry.
We're just starting on his.
Jesus.
These are baby steps to the arc. Baby steps. It's holding onto a sword.
I would never make it through 6.
Step
I'm going to tell
1,
you that right now.
Hold sword.
Hold sword. Good job. 2 hands.
Okay. And then he comes back out. His dad got turned into a rock, we find out. They take the boat home.
The rock that the stone is in, right?
Yeah.
So essentially, Arthur just unimpaling his own father? Is that what's happening when he pulls this? That's weird.
It would have been really funny if that turned into the body and that his dead dad was laying there. That would have been weird.
That, I don't know if funny is the word, but I would have laughed. You're right. You're right.
So we learned that Vortigern started the wars with Mordred, and Merlin made Excalibur, and Excalibur's bound to you. You all right there, Tony?
Yeah, I'm hiding because I'm blowing my nose.
Tony's sick. Tony's not. Tony's under the weather a little, so he's got.
I am over the weather, baby.
Hopped up on Benadryl.
Not Benadryl, but it's Dayquil for sure.
Oh, there you go. His bros have shown up at the cave, and they're all like, "It's all gone." They put it to the ground, and then he's like, "I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill him.
I'm gonna kill him."
And then they're like, "Oh, the thing we gotta do is there's 12 barons, so if we're gonna fight this war, we can meet with 6 of them, and then we're gonna get them to be on the side, and then here we show the meeting of the barons," and he's like, "No, that's not what we're gonna do." And they're like, what? Oh, leadership! Show us your leadership. And he's all like, "Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna blockade the river so they can't get the stones for the tower. We're gonna blockade their slaves so they can't have more slaves, and we're gonna burn down his favorite palace." I like this part. This is my favorite, probably the favorite part of the movie.
Them burning the palace,
or
this plan?
Just plan and sort of how they did it, because you actually show that this guy knows something. That he's all like, "Okay, no, we're thieves. This is what we can do."
Right. Because he's not learning anything in this movie. He's already the leader of the group. He doesn't have to do much to become the king.
Okay. The king's negotiating with the Vikings, and they're like, "We heard about the sword," and they're all like, "Bup." And the king's like, "We should go meet the barons because he's becoming powerful." And then
it's a weird scene to me.
Yeah.
Because the Vikings like, "Are they your men to give?" But then later, when Charlie Hunnam's like, "Yeah, I'm not giving you the men," the guy's like, "What? What?" But you already knew. You already knew, guy. An hour and a half ago, you were like, "Are you sure you can give me those men? Because I'm not sure that you own them." And now he doesn't own them, and now you're surprised. Stupid. That's just bad character.
Then the Vikings bow down to him for no reason.
Almost immediately after him telling them no, they're like, "Okay, I guess we'll bow." And then he's like, "Oh, why have enemies when you can have friends?" What?
They're not his friends.
What is happening?
Look, we're what is happening? A scene we haven't gotten to yet. We're not supposed to do. Okay. Arthur's still working on the sword. Got to face his fears. They take a barge. Okay, so the king is going to go by barge, and the king's power is increasing, and he's starting to be. Oh, he can learn. He's starting to throw fireballs. We're like, wow. Good.
Right.
So they're going to do the assassination attempt, And we're going to use this building, but that guy doesn't want us doing an assassination from his building, so he's probably going to say no to that because then he'll get killed. It's like, yeah, duh.
Which is funny. And he does this move where he goes, that was I laughed pretty hard at that.
It was a good joke. It didn't make a lot of sense because that guy would have then just marked to the black shirts and said, you know, that
hey,
gigantic,
by the way.
you know, the gigantic pile of gold you'll give me if I tell you where this guy is?
Well, guess where he is? He's right next door. I know exactly where he is.
So they set up in this other building, and then Goosefat's like the greatest archer ever. So boom.
By a lot. Because they do a thing where they're like, hey, one archer, how far can you shoot? He's like, about 75. They're like, well, Goosefat, how about you? He's like, 175. Oh, it's the same. No, he said 175. Over 200% better. So weird. Are you sure? It's over double.
Yeah, that means it's 100% better. More, over 100% better.
Okay, I'll trust you.
I'm
going to trust you. I'm high as shit right now, Dan. I'm going to trust your math.
Tony's flying high. Woo! Tony in the sky with diamonds. So they're like, no, it's a fake out. It's a fake out. And the one guy's like, no, it's a fake out. And Goosefat's like, man, I'm going to kill the other guy down there.
I don't care. I'm going to kill somebody. I'm here. Okay.
Did you understand why he did that?
I understood it because like he's been working himself up all day. He's like, I'm going to take a life. I'm so excited. And then they told him no. And he's like, what are you talking about? I want to kill somebody.
There's a better way to handle this where Goosefat's like,
sure.
Nah, he just says that line that you just said, I got to kill somebody.
I got to kill. Like, fuck it, man. We're here. I'm killing somebody.
That'd be a very funny line. We're just like, Goosefat's like, I'm in it for the murder.
He's a little unhinged. What are you going to do? This guy's crazy.
So then everything comes down on them and they got to run. And they end up there's all this running and cocaine stuff that goes on.
So much. It's too much.
And they end up at his old school where all his old buddies are. And this is where it's the most matey, where they're all like, yeah, boss, what you need, boss? Yeah, boss, we'll kill him, boss. We're not going to run away, boss. It's like literally the worst part of the whole movie. It's like really terrible. So the bad guys come rushing in and there's like a huge fight. And then they get the mage lady and he looks over and he sees the mage lady and he's all like, oh, my lady love, my lady love cannot die. And so he like grips the sword and like
two hands.
And there's a sword plosion that occurs. Kabalooey.
Oh, that's a good word. Sword plosion.
And
well done.
Just kills all the bad guys and everybody's dead.
And just the bad guys. I'm a little confused on how it decides who to kill and who not to kill, but that's fine.
I like this part because then there's all these other people in the windows and they're just all like, what the fuck?
Oh, yeah.
And that was interesting. That was like, okay, this sword is some serious mojo and it's impressive.
I mean, the sword is incredible. You know who's not incredible? Arthur. He's mediocre.
Yeah. So they hide in the safe house and then they escape from the safe house and then the bad guys show up at the safe house and then the kid's dad is there and he's dying. And so the kid goes back and then Charlie Hunnam has to do something to save a kid. And somehow then he runs away from the bad guys. But the bad guys don't really give chase or do anything on the river because I don't understand.
Well, because they already have another guy in captivity. And because the next scene is like, you have got a lot to tell me or something. Yeah. I don't know, Dan.
So they have one of his guys. And then, the king's like, crush the resistance tonight. And then Arthur's pissed off when he gets home. So he's all like, I'm tired of this sword. So he throws it in the river. And then the lady of the lake is in there. And then then
he falls into a puddle, and then he gets pulled through the puddle into the lake. I don't understand what's happening, Dan. He
gets sucked into the mud, and then he comes out, and then the sword comes with him because he wants the sword because we don't understand any of this, and it doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, you nailed it.
So then they go back to their cave, And when they get to the cave, there's just one dude there, and he's all like, King's dude, and he's all like, yeah, we were
I gotta
already
get to dinner.
here, and we stole the kid and the mage girl, and we've taken them
Right.
to the castle, and you got to come to the castle because we told you that, and then you have to let me go. Bye. And then
Because he has to get to dinner, he's cooking for his wife. That was a big point of his speech. It's his night to cook, and he's got to get home to make dinner for his wife. That is 100% in his speech, Dan. Don't say no. That's what he says.
No, Tony. There's no medieval guard dude in the world who would be making dinner for his wife. Never.
This guy, he needs to get home. He's got to cook for his wife, Dan. He's very upset about it.
2 words, Tony.
Uh-uh.
So somehow they've gone and raided their cave while they weren't there and taken their people and killed everybody else. But
where is everybody? Where did they go? Because Arthur's walking through the woods, but where's everybody else? What are they doing?
They came around. The bad guys came around and got there faster.
Got it.
They didn't leave any people there. They could have just sent like 3 guys off with the mage and the kid and left this big band of people
rabble.
there. Yeah.
No, just the one guy who's got to get back for dinner. None of those other guys have to get back to dinner. Just this one guy, and they leave him behind. Unbelievable, this guy's luck.
So you got to come, and if you give us a sword, that's the thing, then we'll give you the girl. No, they give him this. They send the sword ahead.
They give him
They send the sword ahead to let the girl go, and they're all like, They do that, which doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that? You just take the sword.
Why would you? Not only would you just take the sword, but why would you even say we'll give you the girl? Give him the boy. The boy doesn't have magical powers that could then come back and bite you in the ass. Keep the mage under lock and key.
And she's a girl, right? Like, isn't that what like it's a girl, not a stupid kid. So then
kids.
So then she does magic on him, and he gets bit by a snake, and then we have this weird rock and roll young man song. You really like that part, I think, right, Tony?
I didn't even understand it. To be honest, it's the only song that I noticed in the movie that has words.
Yep.
And it felt super out of place.
Yep. Super weird, super terrible. I don't know. I don't know anything about it.
I don't know either. I don't know. I'm going to get the soundtrack, though. It's banging.
So the mage has her hawk carry the snake, drop the snake. The snake's like crawling in secret. So we're sending Arthur in the front, and there's secret snake because the snake's going to kill him. Even though we don't say that the snake's, that's our plan, right?
I didn't know that was the plan. I just thought, snake.
I thought she was going to like look through its eyes or something. Maybe I don't know.
But it just dies right away, so it doesn't really matter.
They put Charlie on his knees, and then the snake's coming to kill the thing, and then he kills the snake, but that was their real plan. They wanted him to kill the snake because then that triggers the magic of Mega Snake, and this gigantic snake comes in and goes...
Oh, I didn't understand that at all.
Yeah, I mean, I
just thought she went full Jafar.
No, I just assumed...
You remember that?
I assumed that, did Jafar turn into a snake?
Yeah, he turns into a giant cobra guy fighting Aladdin. You don't remember that?
I think I saw that movie once. Didn't care for it.
Dan, wait, what do you mean you didn't care for it?
We've talked about it.
Oh, yeah, you did. Yeah, no, you're right. Because you're crazy.
Same argument I have with this thing. Robin Williams is like, here I am in old the Arabian Nights time, and I'm going to make FedEx and UPS jokes. No, I don't want FedEx and UPS jokes. I don't want them.
I get it. It works for me in that movie because it's a cartoon and it's Robin Williams, and I will forgive both of those things.
Yeah, and that's why they paid Robin Williams for those jokes, and he's very good at delivering those jokes. But it's like it doesn't matter to me. That doesn't mean anything to me. So
you prefer the Will Smith version, is what you're saying to me? Which is also Guy Ritchie. Look at that. See, you love Guy Ritchie. Guy Ritchie's your guy.
And then the snake roars, because that's what snakes do when they make noise. They roar.
I've never heard a snake do that, but I will trust it.
And then it leaves. Shannon's cooking something.
Wait, doesn't it eat people?
Yeah, it kills everyone.
I thought it ate people, right? Yeah, okay.
It kills everyone. Except the king, who just walks away, and Charlie Hunnam, who stands there.
Well, he walks down his secret secret pathway to his octopi ladies.
Yeah, so he goes down to the octopi lady, and so he has to kill his daughter so that he can have the magic powers. And
Who
then
I didn't know he had. We never mentioned his daughter in this movie. Up until the moment that he's like, oh no, I've got to kill my daughter that I never talk about or see. Shoot, what a tragedy that is.
well, it's because you might actually care about her as she died. It's better to do it this way because then you don't really. There are no real stakes. It's just
There's
a random
zero stakes.
character.
It's a person we've never met before. Thank God she says dad. Otherwise, I would have no idea that that they're related.
She stood in the background in a couple of scenes, like where the blonde lady that finked on him. She's in a couple of those scenes. You didn't know who she was.
I did not. That's true.
We still don't know who the blonde lady is.
Nope, nobody.
I mean,
she's nobody.
I'm sure she's Guinevere, truthfully, but I'm not going to go there.
Oh, interesting. We'll never know.
To
we'll never know. There's no 2 through 6. We'll never know.
Never know. So then they fight in the tower, at the base of the tower, bottom of the tower. And I wrote, what has he learned?
Nothing.
Okay, now they fight. The fight starts out pretty good. And it fights out pretty good because Arthur gives a speech. His speech is, the king's like, says king stuff, and he's all like, what gives you the right, you little nobody? Maybe he says that. I don't even know if he says anything.
I mean, something like that, yeah.
But Arthur's pitch is that I'm strong because you killed my dad in front of me, and then I had to go live with prostitutes, which I don't know if that make me soft, actually. Wouldn't that make you soft, live with prostitutes?
I don't know. Well, I mean, his prostitutes got messed up. A lot of guys abused him, and I think that's kind of what made him, because then he got angry about it.
So he got tough because of everything that you did, and he's all like, "That's you created me."
Yeah, and that's my favorite part. The last he's like, "You created me." I was like, "That's a good line."
It's a great line, and you know what? They should have had him continue talking because he was really good at delivering those lines.
Listen, I'm going to tell you something that you may not know. He's pretty talented.
Yeah, I loved it. He's great.
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
You wouldn't know it watching most of this movie, but he's pretty good. And I'm excited. I'm excited for the Zack Snyder movie. I'm not going to lie to you.
What's the Zack Snyder movie? Oh, he's in
Rebel Moon.
He's in Rebel Moon. Did we talk about Rebel Moon?
Oh, yeah.
Did we talk about
that's how this came up because he was in the trailer for Rebel Moon, and I was like, yeah, get this guy. So
we have this, the first half of the fight is this talk, and it's like, oh, wow, we've actually resolved the issue, what this movie is kind of about. And that's what this movie should have been about, is understanding this.
It would have been great.
And then he should have continued talking, but instead we just get this terrible fantasy fight that we do not care about.
CGI bullshit. Oh, boy.
It means nothing and has no effect on us as people. And whatever goodwill they got in the first half of the fight, they throw in the garbage.
Immediately out. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
He wins, the tower falls down, and then we have a ceremony. And
why did the tower fall, by the way? It just fell.
Oh, because he died.
He didn't do anything, did he?
Killed the bad guy.
And it's somehow connected to the tower? I don't understand magic in this world.
No, you don't, because they don't understand the magic in this world.
Well, that's fair. That's a good point.
If they understood their magic,
maybe we would.
If you're going to make magic powerful and active, you better have a pretty good understanding of it. A lot of times in Game of Thrones, when there was magic, it was powerful but esoteric and hard to understand.
Yeah.
It'd be like somebody that does a bunch of work to make something happen, and you're like, whoa. I think.
Whoa.
I don't remember a lot of Game of Thrones. So boom, we have a ceremony. He's building the round table. Everyone makes fun of his round table. The Vikings want their 10,000 use. The king says no. Then they bow down to him, and then they give him a crown, and then the movie ends. And we're waiting for the next 5. Which is all
very confusing. Very confusing at the end. They really wrap it up real quick. Let me ask you a question, Dan.
Yes.
Can anybody knight anybody? Because there was no order to this thing. He's just like, hey, swords, let's knight some people.
My feeling is the king knights people. I don't know why one of his dudes had to knight him.
I don't know. I'm asking you about the knighting. I don't understand it.
I think it's like you have a king and then you have the knights down below the king. You don't have a
Yeah.
knight above the king that makes the king into a knight who's knighting the other knight kings.
It doesn't. All these roles are up and down. Doesn't make any sense.
My favorite part was at one point I was like, when are we going to see Friar Tuck?
Oh, so you kind of felt this was Robin Hoodie as well? Because the whole time I was like, this feels very Robin Hood and not King Arthur to me.
Yeah, I think that's why I thought about Friar Tuck at a certain
going up against Nottingham and Londonium. What is it? Londoninium? What is it?
Londinium.
Londinium? Yeah. I don't know.
So
I would prefer if it was Robin Hood because Robin Hood's better.
So Littlefinger, great. Charlie Hunnam, good.
Yeah.
Girl that played the witch, the mage, loved her.
Yeah.
That's about my
no
take
name
on the movie.
No name, just magic.
Jude Law, amazingly for a guy that is literally in half the movie, underutilized.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They don't give him a lot to do, just a lot of screen time. It's an unfortunate combination.
Anything else to say about this gem, Tony?
I mean, this movie wasn't good. I did not enjoy this movie much at all. Most of the times I'm having a good time with how bad they are. This was just kind of like, oh boy, this is blah all the way around.
Oh, that's interesting because I didn't hate it, but I just was like, it was more. Its issues were so on the surface. You never had trouble finding that they were front and center.
I mean, it's the whole movie. It's all a problem. It's not good, Dan. This is not one you should watch. If you didn't watch it before the podcast, don't watch it after the podcast. There's no reason to watch this movie.
No. Okay, now we talk about something we like. I have 10 things I could do. We're watching lots of good.
It's been a while.
There's so many good shows. I'm not going to do them all, but
yeah.
I watched the Barbie movie. You got it on Vudu.
Yeah, it came out this week for us. Woo!
A couple of points. I don't understand this movie. I don't understand how this movie got made. I don't understand how this movie is one of the most popular movies of all time. This is a fantastically weird movie that doesn't really. I mean, maybe you could plot it out, Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and understand it all. But man, you don't know where this movie's going at all. I did not. I was just like, I love the ride, but man, I'm very impressed about how opaque the plot was in a really good way. And what's his name that played Ken, and the idea of what Ken is in the thing is just so
good old Gosling.
It's so funny that they act like this is such a feminist movie, but it's a critique of both sides in a really amazing way.
And I don't like to argue on the internet. I find that to be a waste of time.
Yeah.
But there was so much weird backlash about this being hyper feminist and it hates men. I was like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't actually. If it hated men, Ken wouldn't be an actual character. Ken is a real character that goes through a bunch of shit in this movie. And it's very interesting. Very interesting movie.
His arc is truly fascinating and truly, it's a critique on everything because he's sort of the character that's put upon.
Yeah. Yep.
And
I loved this movie.
Yeah, you feel not that you feel sorry for him, but you feel his plight, which is really interesting. That the male character is the one whose plight you really feel. Because Barbie's finding herself and goes through a very different thing, which was beautiful and wonderful, but it's very different.
Yeah, and I mean they each have. I mean, it really is to me a co-led film. They each have their own stories. They intertwine nicely, but they are each on their own separate paths. It's wonderful. It's great stuff. Down with the patriarchy. That's how I felt after the movie. I was all fired up.
I thought there'd be more horses, or whatever he says at one point. It's just that they make him the horse energy person is just
so
and
it's so good.
The one joke that I really probably my favorite joke in it is the Mount Rushmore, which was Barbie I don't remember what it was in Barbie Land, but then when Ken takes over, it's horses.
Horses. Yep.
Just
Bunch of horses.
4 horses. I'm like, wow.
So good.
That's
Yeah.
just so good. Okay, Tony, what do you got for us?
Well, you're not going to like my answer because it's not a movie. But
Jesus.
Olivia Rodrigo dropped her new album, Guts, this week. It is dynamite, Dan. It's so good.
Is she okay? She's so afraid of fireworks.
Wait, is she afraid of fireworks? What's going on?
She did. I think it was her. She did some
Probably.
did some concert thing, and there were some fireworks, and she was like, ah.
Well, they sound like gunshots, Dan. Okay, so they're very scary.
Did you see the thing about what's her name from Only Murders in the Building?
Selena
was on at some award show, and Chris Brown, they announced like he was like, up for some award, and she was like this.
Atta girl. That's great. That's funny.
So you're listening to Olivia Rodrigo. You're channeling your inner 14-year-old tween girl.
Yeah. And I'm proud of it, Dan. It's good. It's great stuff.
Great stuff.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. And then I was also going to say that the Barbie movie came out, and I watched it again on the plane, and it's delightful.
Yeah, it's and in the middle of it, Ken has a ballet. The dance number ballet, and I was just like, I'd read that there was one, but when you're sitting there watching, you're like, this is not what I expected.
Yeah, what's happening? And it's delightful.
Simu is just like, that guy's a star, man.
Everyone's on their shit in this movie. There's not a weak link in the entire cast.
Michael Cera has he just
so
gets so many good things, and America Ferrera, who I've often found kind of annoying. Was she the Superstore person?
Yes.
Oh, and I did not care for that show, but
that's all right.
She's great, and her daughter is the daughter you thought was going to be like a certain thing, and is not that thing.
It's not. Like, yep.
They just avoid every pitfall that there could be. They sort of like, there could be a pitfall, and they're like, no, there's not going to be a pitfall. We're just going to go in this direction.
And they just rollerblade right around it. Whoop. It's delightful. It's great. It's great. It's really great.
Yeah,
Go see it.
A lot of good jokes. Okay. I get to say what we're doing. We're going to do Haunted Mansion with Eddie Murphy, baby.
Oh, yeah. Halloween. We're going back to the beginning. Let's do this.
Yeah. So we'll do Haunted Mansion with Eddie Murphy. And then if we do the next Haunted Mansion after that, we're going to do the next Haunted Mansion after that. We can't do that.
Yeah, fingers crossed. It's got to come out. It has to come out in October.
So you got to think about something else for us to do in case that isn't out after this.
Well, at some point, we got to do our recap of the Summer Hate Madness.
Well, we'll do that after the...
You want to do it after Halloween?
Yeah, we'll do the first one after Halloween. Yeah.
All right. That sounds good. What a plan.
So we'll do some more spooky movies all through
what
October.
You didn't do, Dan, is you didn't put the follow us at the top of the show like we discussed.
The what?
The like and subscribe like everybody does it. You put it at the top of the show, not the end of the show. Nobody's still here.
And you know what you did, Tony? You said our last episode that was Taxi, you said it was RIPD 2 again.
Oh, God damn it, dude. Oh, God, I'm a mess.
I was so happy I saw that, and I was like,
I was in a hotel room, and I was trying to do it real quick. Oh, boy, it's been a tough couple of weeks.
Yeah, so the algorithm likes it if you give us a thumbs up, so please give us a thumbs up if you've made it this far. You can subscribe. You can leave us a comment. Tell us a movie you want us to watch, and especially if you had any Halloween movies you got to this time.
Yeah, because now's the time. Let's do it.
And, that's probably all we have for today, unless you have anything else for us, Tony.
That's all I got. We'll see you soon for Haunted Mansion with Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy, baby!
Goodbye, everybody!
Hey, watch it!